So you have decided that you want to get better at League of Legends. I'm here to tell you that you have definitely come to the right place. My name is Ty, and I have ranked in the top 1% of North America for the last 4 straight years, reaching as high as the top 0.3%. I'm going to be condensing everything I've learned playing League for the last 8 years, and coaching for the last 3, into a jam-packed beginner to diamond video series starting out with the very basics of League of Legends. Every new episode is going to ramp up and get a little bit more in-depth, giving you the knowledge and skills you need to move on to the next video and your next rank. I am so sure that I can help you improve that I'm going to make you a promise. If you don't learn at least one thing from every video, I will post a date and time on my Discord server in the help channel, and I will be in the help voice channel at that time for anyone to connect and ask me anything they want. I know you all are great people and want to help a small channel grow. I mean, is there anything more satisfying than letting everyone in the comment section know how long you've been a part of the channel? If you are new here, the best way you can support the channel is by subscribing and checking off the bell. I give away a free private training session every 500 subscribers. You just have to be subscribed and drop a like and comment to win. So with that all out of the way, let's get you on track to Diamond. So getting started with the absolute basics, we're going to head over to leagueoflegends.com to sign up and download the game. Once you're on the site, you're just going to hit play now, and you're going to have to get started. So here we go. Let's get started. And you're going to choose a username. This is just going to be for your login screen. This isn't going to be your display name when you get into the game. This is just for login purposes. Hit next. Okay, now you're just going to download, and you're going to go through the little setup, and you'll be all set to open up the launcher. So once you've got your client installed and your account made, you're just going to go click your little League of Legends icon wherever you downloaded it. And you're going to boot it up, and then you're just going to put in the username you made. So this is my username. Put in your password. And I screwed up the password. Scroll down, hit the little side wheel right to the bottom, accept, and you're ready to roll. This is where you decide what your in-game name is going to be. So, oh, fits perfect. It's like it was meant to be. Literally can't go one character more. Okay, so this is where you choose if you want to play Teamfight Tactics or Summoner's Rift. This is League of Legends. This is the card game, so you obviously don't want to hit that unless you want to play the card game. This isn't a tutorial for the card game though, so I'm going to try and skip this when I can. A little bit of ear rape. Okay, so first things first, loading into the tutorial. We're just going to press start now, and it's going to start loading into our tutorial. Okay, so here we are. We're on the Summoner's Rift, and we are playing the tutorial. Our objective is to make our way up this lane, all the way down to the enemy base, which is down here. If you click in the lower right-hand corner, you can hold down left-click and move the map around. You can actually look around. This is only an intro, so there's only part of the map available, just this middle lane, but as you can see, there's area all around in this square.
By right-clicking a destination.
So the basis of any character in League is you have a passive ability. These are what are called tooltips. If you mouse over the tooltip, it'll read what it does. So you have a passive ability that isn't, it just passively does something. So in this character's case, it deals bonus physical damage when she attacks a new target. Bonus damage is halved against minions. Minions are these red things, these little dudes that run up and down the lane. Both teams have them. Then you have your Q, your W, your and your R, and your summoner spells. So what you want to do, take your pinky, put it on Q, put your next finger on W, middle finger on E, and then your pointer finger on R. So you have 4 fingers for 4 abilities. And then when you need to use D or F, then you slide your middle finger down to tap those as needed. So if you look, each ability has an amount of damage it does, or it tells you a description of what it does. So in this case, this is an ability that does damage. In this circle radius, it'll show you that highlighted blue circle is the radius in which I can cast this ability, the range. In the top right of this little double up box, it tells you the cooldown. In this case, since we're in a tutorial, the cooldowns are reduced for tutorial purposes, so they're not accurate, but that's where you go to look. It says it costs 55 mana, and it's a second and a half. Then you have your W, which is a little activates like a move speed passive that you have. It has a passive effect and an active effect. If you read, it says passive after 5 seconds of not taking damage. Misfortune gains 25 move speed. After another 5 seconds, this bonus is increased to 70. And then when you activate it, it fully activates the passive move speed and grants 55 attack speed for 4 seconds. So, say you lose your full move speed. I don't have the hearts following me anymore because I'm in combat. If I press W, I gain a little move speed boost. And then your E, it shows the radius of which it can attack, and then that inner circle is this ability is actually an ability, the thing you fire has a radius itself. So if I were to move that circle around, if I change this setting here, go to hotkeys and go like this, it'll show me I can move this around, and where I drop it, that's where it'll fire, and it rains down bullets from the sky. So basically what I want to do is move the camera by pushing it into the corner of the screen. It'll shove your screen around, and you just use your right click to move around. You click, ideally you want to click fast. The better you get, the faster you click, so you can more actively react to things. So that's an enemy champion, which is player controlled. In this case it's AI controlled. So what you want to do is, with a combination of right clicking, which activates your auto attack, every character, if you just right click somebody, you'll fire your basic attack. So you could, if your left hand wasn't even on the keyboard, you're just clicking. Every character has a basic attack that is just a default attack when you right click somebody. So if you're a ranged character, it's a good idea to shoot and then move and then shoot and then move and then shoot and move, so you can keep distance away from them, so you can fire and run. Because every character has an attack speed, which you can't actually see in the tutorial, but you can only attack so fast. So while you're waiting for your next attack, you can spend your time moving. So that's how to take a guy out with just your auto attacks.
You control a champion, a powerful and heroic individual.
It's just letting you know you can test out different characters. I didn't actually use any of her abilities to fight that, but if I had, I could have gone like this, and then her ultimate is your most powerful ability on the longest cooldown, and it's your R. Your R is always your ultimate, and it fires, in this person's case, a huge barrage of bullets in that direction that could wipe out an entire team. So it wants you to test out a new character, so depending on what you want, this is a ranged character, these two are both ranged. We'll try out a melee character. So you can right click that, switch to a melee character. You've got a brand new set passive and 4 new abilities. In this guy's case, he has a Q, which he spins his axe. He has a W, which is a empowered auto attack. I don't know if you can tell, this is his regular auto attack. He has a pull, as I just pulled that guy in. That laser beam he was firing was actually his ultimate, and you can kill him like that. So this W is what's called a empowered auto attack. Basically, you'll notice once I activate it, it starts making that noise, and you'll see this little bar ticking down, and then when it's done, it stops. So basically, if you auto attack somebody with that active, it does basically a juiced up auto attack compared to just a regular one. It makes a different noise, and it has bonus effects. So this guy, you want to use a combination of your just whiff that. You want to use a combination of your abilities to take out the enemies. You chain your auto attacks and your abilities, and eventually you kill them. So the idea is to wait for your minions. You take out their minions using your abilities and your auto attacks, and then once you get under their tower, you take out their tower. You auto attack it to death, and then when their champions come back, then you leave the tower, because if you try and fight them under the tower will shoot you. So if I attack him, now the tower starts shooting me, and the tower does a lot of damage. So you don't want to do that. So I'm just going to keep using my abilities. And then you take out the champions, and then you go back to pushing up with your minions. You let your minions get shot first. The tower will prioritize your minions before it shoots you. And then you keep going until you've taken it out. So just a few more hits, and then we can advance up the map and try and make a move on the next tower.
The object of League of Legends is to pierce the enemy's defenses and destroy the Nexus located in the heart of their base.
So like she just said, we're just trying to push up. Now we've got a team. It's normally 5 versus 5. So just spawn us in a team, and as our team, we'll take that guy out. We'll keep pushing up, and we'll try and take out the towers as a team. So if we keep going, just gotta take out one more tower. So if we take this one out, they're gonna send some reinforcements. We should be able to take this out before they get here though. And then we'll go to try and kill these guys. Now we can move our way up a little further. We take out the inhibitor. When the inhibitor spawns, if you look and you see these minions, you don't see any super big minions. But once you've taken out this inhibitor, basically instead of these minion squads spawning with one juiced up little cannon minion, I don't know if you saw the little cannon, it'll spawn with a giant minion that's super strong. So that'll help you move your way up with an extra strong minion. So I need to take out the last two Nexus towers, and then you can end the game. Alrighty, so now we've got the game downloaded, we've got our account created, and we've completed the tutorial. Now all we have left to do is get into some real games. But before we do that now, we're going to need to know what characters we want to play and what role we're going to play when we actually get into a game, because there's going to be 4 other people on our team that are also going to be potentially wanting the same role that we want. So we're going to have to be able to claim that first and know what we want to play before we get into the match. To help give you guys an idea of what you might want to play before you get into the game, I'm going to give you some insight on what kind of characters and roles there are to play to begin with. So just like anything else in life, League of Legends has different parts to a team. Each different person has a different job that takes place in a different spot than the other person. So to start it off, we'll look at the top laner. So the top laner plays tanks or bruiser characters generally. So tanks are people with lots of health. They usually have some abilities that can stun people. They are kind of just there to help the rest of their team soak up a lot of damage and be annoying. If you're playing a bruiser is a mix between a tank and someone that deals lots of damage. Tanks generally don't deal lots of damage, but they take a really long time to kill. Bruisers are kind of a hybrid between dealing a lot of damage and being really strong. They usually get really up in your face, they can be super oppressive and kill you. So the top laner's job is to just patrol this top lane. So your job, if you're starting on this side of the map, your job is to start you in the middle right here, both laners. Your job is to kill the other person, kill his first tower, kill his second tower, kill his third tower, kill the inhibitor, and then make your way in and eventually destroy the base. So that's your duty. You are relegated to this lane here. Moving down the list, next up we have the jungler. The jungler can look to play a wide cast of characters. You could be a tank, you could be a bruiser, you could be an assassin. An assassin is someone that just does a lot of damage really quick and assassinates somebody, if you don't already know. And the jungler's job is to follow around these camp trails. So each team has a blue buff right here and a red buff down here. So this is the red side of your jungle and the blue side of the jungle. And then vice versa, the other team, symmetrical but opposite, has a blue buff here and a red buff here. So your objective is to kill your blue buff, your that's called your Gromp. You have wolves, you have the birds, also known as the raptors, and then you have your red buff, and then you have your Krugs. And then the other team has the exact same thing: Krugs, red buff, birds, wolves, blue buff, and Gromp. So you basically run through killing these monsters, and then when the time seems right, you pop out and you help your laners surprise attack their enemy by jumping out of the bush and killing them when they think they're in an even fight. Same amount of people against the same amount of people, all of a sudden the jungler comes out and makes it an uneven fight. Up next we have the mid laner. So the mid laner is generally someone that plays either a mage or an assassin. So mages usually deal a lot of magic damage from far away. They usually have range, and they deal all their damage from their abilities on their keyboard. So your Q, W, E, and R are what deal all of your damage. Same with an assassin. Generally, your Q, W, E, and R are what deal all of your damage. And basically, the mage's job is to just deal tons of damage from far away and blow people up in very quick order. And the assassin's job is to generally do the same thing, except instead of doing it from range, they usually have abilities that get in close and you assassinate them from up close and personal. The mid laner's job is to control the mid lane of the map. Much like the top laner, if you're the mid lane, this is your lane, this is your priority. You are in charge of this area of the map. So that also means you're in charge of the enemy that you're playing against. So it's your job to keep track of your enemy. If your enemy disappears, it's your job to let your team know through pings where you think your enemy may have gone, when he disappears, so he doesn't appear down here all of a sudden and kill your team. So if you're on blue side of the map and you're pushed into their tower and their mid laner's gone and you don't know where he is, and all of a sudden your bot lane is pushed up to their tower, well, their mid laner could very well be running down to sneak up behind your bot lane and kill them. So it's your job to let your bot lane know, hey, this guy's not here, maybe you guys should back up to safety before he comes and kills you. Lastly, moving down the list, we have our ADC and our support. Bot lane is the only 2v2 lane on the map. Top lane is a 1 vs 1, the jungle is a 1 vs 1, the mid lane is a 1 vs 1, and in the bottom lane it's a 2 vs 2. The way the game is designed is that the items that deal tons of damage and make you kill people really easily are super expensive. And the items that help your teammates, that are the support items, that give them shields, they give them extra health, they keep them alive, those items tend to be a lot cheaper. So the way the game's laid out is that the ADC is the one that takes all of the gold. So you get gold for killing minions. If you deal the last hit of damage to a minion, you get bonus gold and the other person gets nothing. So the ADC takes all the gold and the support does nothing but keep them alive and try and set up kills for their team. Since you're down there sharing experience, everyone else on the map is getting solo experience. They're getting all the XP to themselves, but since you're splitting it in the bottom lane, you guys are always going to be behind in levels. So the bottom lane is always going to be the lowest level in the game until later on in the game when things get jumbled up and everybody starts running around the entire map. Then things can change, but in the laning phase of the game, when you're still fighting 2v2 against the same person, you're always going to be a lower level than the rest of the game. So keep that in mind if you're ever playing in the bottom lane and you're roaming around the map somewhere. If you run into their top laner or their mid laner or their jungler, odds are 99% of the time they're going to be a higher level than you and you're going to have a tougher time fighting them because they have more gold and they're higher level than you, so therefore they have more stats. The job of the ADC is a ranged damage dealer. They deal tons of damage with their auto attacks from far away with their right click auto attack. They don't really deal that much damage from their abilities compared to like a mage or an assassin. They still sometimes have abilities to deal decent damage, but for the most part, you're looking to deal all your damage from your right click ability, which is strictly correlated to how many items you have, increasing your attack speed and your attack damage and your critical strike chance. There are a couple different types of supports in the game. There are tank supports, there are healer supports, there are buff supports. Tank supports generally are really tanky. They have a lot of health, a lot of armor, a lot of magic resistance, and they have lots of crowd control. Crowd control is the ability to inhibit the enemy's movement by stunning them or knocking them into the air or knocking them backwards, or they can root them in place. There's all kinds of different things that you can inhibit the enemy's movement to try and set up kills or provide peel for your team. And peel is another slang word in League which means to protect, to keep them away from them, to peel them away from your person you're trying to protect. That is peel. So your job is to peel for your ADC and keep them alive. So you peel the enemy away from them. Buff supports are any support that can like heal you, shield you. Some characters, when they shield you, usually you get a bonus of some kind. So that gives you not only a shield, but the shield also gives you a bonus in damage, maybe attack speed, something of that nature. Buff supports can also speed you up a lot of the time. They can slow the enemy down. Basically, they just have a whole kit full of things that enhance your ability to kill them and keep you alive while slowing them down. And that's basically the support's job, just to make sure their team stays alive and to keep the enemy team away from them. After you've completed the tutorial, you should have around 4,800 Blue Essence, I believe. Blue Essence is the in-game currency that you buy characters with. You can't play a character in League of Legends unless you have bought them. So to buy a character, you go to the collection tab and you hit champions. Champions is just defaults that it's highlighted once you go into collection because it's the first tab. So if you scroll down, you can look and see all champions, and it'll show you all of the characters in the game. If the idea of playing a tank or a bruiser and getting up in people's faces and dealing a good amount of damage and killing people and being tanky and hard to kill appeals to you, then I recommend you playing top lane and picking up Garen. Garen is going to be a great champion for you to play. He deals lots of damage. He's very cheap. He only costs $450. If you don't own him already, you can just click on him, and then right here you hit purchase. You purchase with Blue Essence. He'll be $450. His abilities are super easy. You just run up. That's his Q. You press it. He gets a little bit of move speed. You run over, and your next attack smashes him on the head. His W is basically you just click it, and it gives you a little bit of tenacity, which makes you harder to apply crowd control to, and increases your magic resistant armor, just making you tankier. And then your E just allows you to spin like a freaking Beyblade, and you just deal tons of damage to the people you're spinning on. Lastly, his ultimate is his coolest ability. You run up to somebody and you basically just call down a blast out of the sky that executes them when they get to around quarter health. You use it on them and it'll kill them. Execute abilities in this game deal more damage based on the lower HP the enemy is. So if you use an execute on someone that's full health, it's probably not going to work because it doesn't really make sense to execute someone that's healthy. You execute people that are weak. So you wait till they get nice and low and then you execute them. Once you hit level 8 and unlock Smite, if the role of jungle appeals to you, being able to control, dictate the game, be able to go where you want, help when you want, it basically gives you more freedom to run around the entire map and make plays, then jungle is a great role for you, and I recommend you pick up Amumu. Amumu is another 450 currency champion, very cheap to buy, and he's got a neat, fun kit. So his Q is this bandage toss. You aim it, and then you throw out the bandage, and when you hit them with the bandage, you'll stun the target and jump to them, so it's good for chasing people down. His W is nice and easy to use. It's a toggle ability. You turn it on, and it turns on these blue tears, and the blue tears just do damage over time, but they'll drain your mana. Once you run out of mana, you obviously can't use the ability anymore. It'll turn off, or you can just turn it off manually if you want to save your mana. His E is Tantrum. You basically just deal damage in a circle around you. Another easy ability to use. And his ultimate is also very powerful and very cool. When you press R, anybody in that yellow field takes a bunch of damage and gets stunned. So the idea is to use this bandage to shoot into a team, and then you get the enemy into a radius that you can pack as many of their enemy champions into that radius as possible. You press R, they all get stunned, take damage, and your whole team can kill them. In the mid lane, I recommend you buy Annie. Annie is a $450 champion, and she is very fun, very powerful, and super user friendly. Her Q, she just tosses a fire blast at the enemy that deals damage. Her W, she shoots another fire blast forwards in a cone, in a triangle cone that deals damage. Her E gives her some damage reduction and a burst of movement speed when you activate it. And her ultimate is this coolest ability she has. She summons a giant bear that deals a ton of damage that she can control around the map and attack people with. The cool thing about Annie is her passive makes it so every fourth spell she gets this little wind thing around them, and the next spell she hits somebody with, she stuns them. So the idea is to get the stun loaded, so you use another ability, and then that was her fourth ability. Now she has the stun loaded, and then you hit them with your ultimate. Your ultimate, along with your W, are what are called area of effect abilities. They deal damage to multiple people. As you can see here, the minions get killed and this guy takes damage. So if that could have been a whole team, you could have, if you hit a whole team with that ability, you could stun them all if you had your passive ready. So the idea is to get your stun ready and then drop your ultimate on their whole team, so you can stun their whole team and then hit them with your full combo while keeping them locked down for your whole team to also pile on and kill. Moving on to the ADC role, I recommend you pick up Ashe, another 450 champ, so it's good for your budget starting out. You don't have much money to spend, but you do have the ability to pick up a lot of good value $450 characters. Ash's passive is Frost Shot. All of her auto attacks slow the enemy, and if she critically strikes them, then they're slown even more. Her Q, every time you auto attack, this is an auto attack, just your default attack. You'll just keep using it endlessly as long as there's something to hit. She builds up a passive amount of focus, and then when she activates her Q, it unleashes the focus, dealing a fast little barrage of attacks, as you can see. There, it's activated, and then she unleashes a high rate of fire attack. In the ADC role, I recommend you pick up Ash. Ash is another good value $450 character. She is the attack damage carry and is based around slowing people down with her frost bow. So her passive is going to apply a slowing effect to all of your auto attacks, and it's going to make you slow them even more if you critically strike them. Her Q is called Ranger's Focus. It's going to, every time you auto attack somebody, you're going to build up focus, and then you can unleash all your focus at once to unleash a high rate of fire attack that deals lots of damage. Next, you're going to have your volley, which is your W. You're going to shoot out arrows in a cone that slow them down and deal lots of damage. And then your E is going to be Hawk Shot. Hawk Shot allows you to shoot a Hawk Shot across the map. It can go across the entire map, revealing the fog of war as it travels. So if somebody's hidden in the fog of war in their jungle, you can shoot that into their jungle and it'll reveal whoever's there. So you can scout out the map using that missile that you can shoot to try and provide information to your team on where the enemy is. And then lastly, your ultimate is your Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Basically, this is a global ability. You can shoot it across the entire map. It won't stop moving until it hits a champion or shoots off the map. Basically, the longer distance it travels, the longer it will stun the enemy champion and deal more damage to them. So if you can cross map snipe somebody with an arrow, it's going to slow them for a very long time and deal a ton of damage. This is great for setting up fights with teammates and securing kills all over the map. Lastly, to fill the support category, I have two characters I recommend for you. One of them is a 450 character, Soraka. She is a healer, a utility character, doesn't really do much but buff her team. So if you go to unlock her, she is 450, hit unlock, 450, purchased, and now when you go into a game, you can play her. Her abilities are pretty basic. Her Q is going to throw out this little star call, and if it hits the character in that little circle, it is going to give her health back. Her W is Astral Infusion. You give your own health to your ally to help them survive. So you can heal them significantly with this ability. Late game, you can heal someone from no health to full health very, very, very quickly. Your E is called Equinox. You can summon this circle here that slows them down, and when the zone expires, it silences them. So if you're still standing in it when it expires, the enemy gets silenced. And lastly, your ultimate is Wish, and it is a global heal. So basically, if you see your teammate on the other side of the map about to die in a fight, you can use your ultimate and it'll give them a quick burst of health to try and keep them alive. The other option I recommend you pick for the support role is Blitzcrank. He's a little bit more fun of a support. He is a little bit more expensive. I believe he was $31.50 when I purchased him, but he's a little bit cooler. He has the ability to actually shoot out his rocket hand and grab somebody from where they are and pull them into your team. So basically, if you get picked out of a bunch and pulled straight into 5 people, you're probably going to die. That's his Q. His W is Overdrive. When he activates it, he gets a burst of movement speed, slowly tapering off and actually slowing him down at the end of it. And his E is Power Fist. So this is basically what you do in a combo. You pull them in with your Q. And as soon as they get close, you knock them into the air with your E. And then once they're knocked into the air, you activate your R, which is a huge area of effect silence. So it has a big area of effect that it'll hit multiple people. As you can see, it hits these minions and hits this person, deals a lot of damage to them, and silences them for 1 second. So the silence makes it so they can't cast any abilities while they're silenced until it's over. So we're already up over 30 minutes on this video, so I think this is where we're going to call it. Now you guys have an understanding of what kinds of rules there are to play, and you have a little bit of a recommendation on what champions should be good to start with. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button, make sure to subscribe for more content, and most importantly, have a great day.